Hey folks, welcome back to Ndaba Africa. This is Chris again. Sorry, just a moment, just a second here. Sorry. Tea at Nkandla. Just enjoying my tea here, folks. This past week on Friday, let's see, that's the 5th? Yeah, the 5th of February, 2021. A gathering took place at Nkandla, the fraudulent palatial mansion built in Kwa-Zulu Natal for former President Jacob Zuma. Oh, that's kind of hot. Sorry, my tea's hot. So I just thought I'd share my tea with you there. There you go. You get my thoughts on what's happening here. But over the weekend, in response to the events that took place, and let's unpack tea at Nkandla. What the heck is that all about? Well, over the weekend, the Democratic Alliance wrote to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Thandi Modise, to ask for a full investigation into exactly how he got there and who paid for Julius Malema's extravagant trip to Jacob Zuma's palatial Nkandla estate. Now, the DA Chief Whip, Natasha Mazon, issued a statement that the Speaker has authority to investigate travel claims. Well, that's true, absolutely true. But once again, I have to point out that it seems to me that the Democratic Alliance is missing the plot here, folks. Yeah, we have vaccination issues going on in South Africa right now. Vaccines supposedly being looted and pillaged, and ANC-linked companies trying to get their fingers in the tenders. These are real issues, not to mention the near collapse of the restaurant industry in South Africa, millions of jobs lost, people not getting by. What about some court cases to deal with the fact that the National Coronavirus Command Council's declarations in March of last year were declared unconstitutional almost entirely by the North Gauteng High Court in June of 2020? Where is the DA's effort on that? Where's the attention focused on that? Listen, I'm not saying that Julius Malema gets a pass, but by laying this letter in the hands of Thandi Modise and complaining about Julius Malema going to a private meeting at Nkandla, what the DA has done is confirm what its critics claim, that it's obsessed with the economic freedom fighters and that it is not working the interest of South Africans, but rather is petty and going after him because they're racist. Now, of course, you and I, who are cogent, reasonable, lucid people, know that that's not the case, because the DA is comprised of all sorts of folks from all over South Africa, from all ethnicities. So, but it does lend credence to the low information voters and the uninformed who will buy anything that they're told. Well, what are we talking about, folks? Well, there was a meeting at Nkandla, a palatial, government-financed estate of corrupt former President Jacob Zuma. Now, at that event, we had Julius Malema, a member of parliament for the Economic Freedom Fighters, and the head of the party himself. In addition, they had Councillor Dwandile Masina, who is the mayor of Ekurhuleni. And then Vuyani Pambo, also a member of parliament, Jacob Zuma himself, the convicted criminal Tony Yengani, and Dali Mpofu. They were all gathered. And what happened at this event? Well, that's something that everyone wants to know. Some insiders have spoken to the Independent Online and shared some of their thoughts. And newspapers have gone around and made an effort to find out what exactly happened in Nkandla. In the meantime, the DA comes off looking petty for going after this. I think the bigger concern for all in South Africa is what exactly was going on. A collection of ANC misfits, convicted criminals, and dodgy former presidents, all meeting, people who are erstwhile enemies. But what's it really about? That's the question. So let's talk about what came down on this. Now, what Natasha Mazone had to say is she said that these are the questions that need to be answered in the investigation. Were any official travel entitlements used to fund the visit? Well, it's a fair question, but you don't have to do a press release and make a big fuss about it until you actually have the information rather than get egg on your face. Were any vehicles of VIP protection service used to transport any of the guests to and from Nkandla? Well, why don't you ask the question about Senegal on the 16th of October when 26 police cars escorted Julius Malema to Senegal? Where's the inquiry on that? Why isn't that getting attention? We know he had a police escort there. We all saw it. Were any benefits received in terms of travel or hospitality that required declaration made in the register of the members' interest in Parliament? Good questions. Mazone had the following to say: as MPs, we have an absolute responsibility to ensure that at no time is the South African taxpayers' money abused or wasted. We have a duty to ensure that this Tea Party in no way costs the economy of South Africa a single cent that could have been used to purchase vaccines for people. Well, bravo, bravo, bravo. But here's the problem. This is petty. Focus on the big issues here, real issues here. Money's actually being stolen. Things are actually disappearing. What about the $5.6 billion from the African Development Bank, the new Development Bank, and the International Monetary Fund in July and August of 2020? Where is that $5.6 billion? Yep. So why did they meet? Well, some sources, insiders, according to Independent Line and other news reporting, have indicated that this was an effort by Julius Malema to do the right thing. He went to Nkandla to encourage Jacob Zuma to reconsider his refusal to appear before the Zondo Commission. Of course, that's the famous corruption inquiry that's been taking place, it seems like decades long now in South Africa, with no resolution, no convictions, no charges whatsoever. So we are to believe that Julius Malema went there to convince his former despised enemy to step before the Zondo Commission and do the right thing. Somehow, I think that's a little far-fetched. What are they really there for? Well, some other insiders gave us some information, and I'll read some of these comments that came out. Yep. For his part, Julius Malema said that I'm not going to make any comments until the right time. Until the right time. Could there be a new political development on the horizon? A merger of parties? A coalition against the ANC? If I was in the African National Congress, I would be a little concerned at this point. Jacob Zuma has a great deal of support. Approximately half the ANC supports this guy. Yeah, so very shaky ground for the African National Congress. Another insider said this was a crusade to bring all black leaders together, regardless of their political affiliation. South Africa belongs to all, but right now, the country is in bad shape politically and otherwise. Well, okay. So why do you have to bring all black leaders together and if the country belongs to all? So where are the white, colored, and Indian South Africans in this conversation? Why are they excluded if the country belongs to all? Racist much? I guarantee you if a meeting of white-only politicians took place in South Africa at someone's private residence, it would be front page news about a white cabal of, you guessed it, white monopoly capital. Yes. Now, another insider who was present claimed that there would be more tea gatherings over the next 4 weeks with the aim of reclaiming South Africa from white monopoly capital. Wow. This racist bullshit needs to stop. White monopoly capital? First off, there was no capital before there was any of this so-called white monopoly capital. There was no South Africa. There was a Zulu nation. There was a Xhosa nation. There was a Pedi nation. There were the Basotho. There were the Griquas. There were the Trekbars. There was no country. White monopoly capital. Racist much? Wow. We must make it clear that these meetings aren't about Zuma versus the Zondo Commission. So one of the sources contradicts the story that the other one gave. But they are about reshaping our country. Now we're talking. And bringing it to its former glory. What? Whoa. We must make it clear that these meetings aren't about Zuma versus the Zondo Commission, but they're about reshaping our country and bringing it to its former glory. Oh my God, folks. These people met to restore apartheid. What is wrong with them? It was morally bankrupt. Why would you want apartheid? Former glory. What former glory? April 27th, 1994? The looting began on April 28th. It has never ended. The country began to be run into the ground already by 2005. Former glory? What planet do these people live in? Wow. Of course, it is inevitable that the Zuma matter would be discussed, but it wouldn't be central to the discussions. Well, another insider had this to say: we all have our different views with the way Zondo runs the commission, but we can't have differences with the Constitutional Court if we still want to live in a democratic society that respects the rule of law, and that's the message we delivered to former President Zuma. It seems like people went there for different reasons and different objectives to Nkandla. Rule of law, South Africa, that's just plain comical. Absolutely comical. Wow, folks. Unbelievable. Now, weighing in on this is United Democratic Movement leader General Bantu Holomisa, a recent guest on my program, he said he would welcome the gathering if its main purpose was to persuade Zuma to appear before the commission. Notice how they roped in General Holomisa into this conversation. Interesting. He has nothing to do with it. And yes, the racist party that was disbanded, that lost its registration for its racist rules in denying people access to the party based on their skin color. You know what I'm talking about. Black first, land first. And Andile, Andile. Andile said that he was pissed off that Zuma met with Malema on Friday. Julius betrayed Zuma so many times, humiliated him multiple times. I'm pissed off the former president allowed him to come to Nkandla. But he did have this to say, and this is important. We have reason to believe that Julius was sent to Nkandla by white monopoly capital to go and lecture Zuma about constitutional democracy. This Tea Party gathering was an ill-conceived idea and an insult to those of us who are standing for the real revolution in this country. Listen, Andile, you've missed the boat. The revolution took place. The country is run by a majority black population, and the economy is run by a majority black population. Into the ground, we might add, but it is run by black folks, and you probably missed that somewhere. So you can make up this nonsense all you want, but it doesn't make it true. Wow. There's a reason your political party was disbanded, because it would not allow people who were white to join it, and that is illegal in South Africa. I realize you don't realize that, but I thought I'd share that with you. So, tea with Jacob. Not quite tea with Helen, but tea with Jacob. Folks, what's going on in South Africa? The economic freedom fighters, who exist solely because of the criminal activities and misbehavior of Julius Malema in the African National Congress's Youth League, from which that and the party was expelled over his dispute over publicly embarrassing the president of the party and the nation, Jacob Zuma. These two odd bedfellows come together at Nkandla, along with the disgraced criminal Tony Yengani, the former whip of the African National Congress, and others. What's this about? Some say it was to encourage Zuma to appear before the Zondo Commission, to do the right thing. Others say, no, it was to deal with white monopoly capital. And yet others, like Andile from Black First Land First, said that it was sent there by white monopoly capital. Wow. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. But this is Cloud Cuckoo Land South. We're talking about South Africa, a country where utter nonsense is taking place. Meanwhile, back to the main point that I started this video with. The Democratic Alliance really, is this the best you can do? While people are hungry, people are suffering, people are starving, jobs are gone, businesses have collapsed, people imprisoned, people actually dying from COVID. Let's not forget that. All of this. Where are your questions about the $5.6 billion? Why are there no questions about that? No questions about transparency with the vaccines. Who's getting them? How many have been dispersed? These are real questions that should matter. The opposition party should not be focused on this trivial matter of whether government expenses are used for this, because you sure seem to have little interest, at least you didn't publicly make noise about Jacob or about Julius Malema going to Senegal on the 16th of October with a 26 police car escort. Or questions about Julius Malema's behavior. He should have been expelled from Parliament for encouraging domestic terrorism. Where was the DA when Julius Malema encouraged his followers to attack and destroy clicks locations over a Tresemme ad placed by a black employee of a black majority-owned business, yet allowed to turn it into a fraudulent race issue, black people causing a problem for black people and blaming white people? Where was the Democratic Alliance when Julius Malema incited domestic terrorism against clicks? I don't know. I don't recall seeing much from the DA at that point. Where was the DA on the 16th of October when Julius Malema and his number 3 got up on a stage singing Kill the Boer? Where are the charges not filed in that case? And what about them inciting their followers to arson and 92,000 hectares of land in the Free State ignited by arsonists inspired by Julius Malema's party. Those are real issues. There's real harm caused there. A private meeting in Nkandla, a place that shouldn't exist, built on the taxpayer's dime, typical African theft from kleptocratic states of state resources for personal benefit. There's no reason for outrage about that. Do an inquiry privately about any travel claims, about the use of any government vehicles. Don't make a big show of it publicly. This really doesn't accomplish anything. Focus on the real. This is why South Africa's opposition is weak and is not a serious challenge to the African National Congress. And it looks like the Democratic Alliance, the Nkandla Freedom Party, the United Democratic Movement, the Freedom Front Plus, and a host of other opposition parties are going to squander the best opportunity to give the ANC a PK. And that's the 2021 municipal elections. This nonsense of focusing on the trivial and not going out, recruiting people to your party, spreading the word about what your party platform is and your positions are, helping people, doing those things, which I've been telling South African opposition parties to do since June of 2020. You've now wasted 7-8 months of campaign time for an upcoming election in which the African National Congress is so wildly unpopular that now you see members of other parties meeting with key people within the party, Jacob Zuma, and who knows what's going to come of it. We could see the ANC fracture again as a result of these tea parties. Wow. Anyway, folks, there you have it. The DA moans about misuse of government resources while ignoring domestic terrorist and incitation to arson. If you're not a subscriber to Chris White Africa, why don't you become one? Smash the subscription button right down there. It costs absolutely nothing. You get these unbiased, objective views of what's taking place around the world, in Africa especially, but especially in South Africa. And be sure to toggle the bell icon to get notified of updates. And finally, why don't you smash the like button, because likes drive viewership, and gosh darn it, we'd like to see the videos viewed. Thanks a lot for your time, for your patience, and for your patronage. Your custom is much appreciated. God bless.